So still considering that thought about ignorance being a bliss, and of course I deeply disagree with it. Because it's just some lousy self-consolation technique, basically lying to yourself, thinking that it's gonna, make it easier somehow, while things are not going great behind your back, and unbeknownst to you, stuff is happening that is gonna hurt you, and you're suspecting it, but you just wanna pretend that things are somehow okay and bury your head in the sand. And what if there is a better way? And we have started to talk yesterday about a better way from 2 Samuel 24, where King David did something really stupid, and then in verse 10 he actually starts down this road of this better way. And the first thing he does is that he admits that he was in error, and then it goes beyond that, because we see his motivation, we see an understanding of God that helped him make that decision, to face with his decision, and face with his error, take his head out of the sand and look in the face of his mistake and the consequences of it, and deal with it head on. So this is verse 14. And David said unto God, I am in great strait. And then he makes a choice. What should their chastisement be for his stupidity? He says, let us fall now into the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hand of man. So David chose not to fall into the hand of his enemies, but rather to fall in the hand of God. And wouldn't that be a stupid choice? I mean, think about it. Those are only people. They're not that strong. They cannot achieve such great destruction. But God is like omnipotent, Wouldn't it be better to choose the weaker opponent and the weaker looking chastisement? But David here reveals something very important. He's saying that he's trusting God's mercy, despite the fact that he knows he's deserving every punishment, every chastisement for his sin. Here we see something important. When he, in verse 10, admitted that he was wrong, and he admitted his foolishness, he only dared to do that because he knew the Lord to be gracious, okay? And he knew he can count on God eventually being on his side, God eventually being on Israel's side. Even though his folly will cause chastisement, he knew that there's bad times coming, but he knew that God eventually would be on their side. And this is why he's trusting rather to God. As I said several times in the past few days, we would only choose to bury our head in the sand because we start believing the lie that there's nothing better waiting for us than a false peace, than a lying blessing, than an empty shell of an okay situation. Okay, we want to pretend. There is nothing better for us than false peace and pretending that things are okay. But here we see something important. When I know God to be gracious, when I know God to be merciful, then I become bold enough to deal with my problem in the light of God's reality. And that is a huge decision for all of us, but it's worth making, it's worth being bold, but only if I know my God to be gracious, my God to be merciful, and only then, even though I know I'm deserving punishment, I know I deserve a lot of bad things, but when I know God to be merciful and gracious and loving, then I can say in my heart, okay, I'm going to take my head out of the sand because I have hope in God. So that's just some meditation for you for the day, and God bless you.